We've been in a vexed question now for the past several days and weeks. We have to now take cogent conversation forward because all crises within this country are solvable if we understand a few basics. The basics is an intent to solve them. You have to have intent, clear intent. The second basis is you should be able to have an understanding of how the problems have evolved. The third is participation of the people who are the affected parties. And the fourth is an understanding that there are certain motivated lumpen elements, some simply who love chaos and profiteer from it, others who have much more malicious, pernicious and malefied intent, who jump into problems and try to hijack them and turn them into nasty situations. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a conundrum for people like me, editors of national news channels, on how to have these conversations. And I'll tell you why it's a conundrum. The conundrum is this, that news per nature is generally when something has gone wrong. There's a cyclone, flooding has happened, earthquake has happened, news. We don't report, oh, no cyclone happened, no flooding happened, because that's good. So an assumption is made that to stay in the mind space of this country, something bad has to happen. And that assumption is negative for two reasons. The number one reason is it convinces people that they need to create a crisis for them to seek attention to a very reasonable and otherwise an issue that should have long been addressed. And the other becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that the more attention than we give, the more the lumpens feel that they are succeeding, and we get stuck in this conundrum. We can only solve this conundrum by ensuring that even when there is now peace and no trouble, that we carry on the conversation regarding the endemic issues in Manipur. I want to try and do both. We've been having telecasts every single day. We'll keep having them because we need to solve the problems. Joining us on the broadcast, former DGP of Mumbai, PK Jain is with us, BL Vora is with us also. Glady Hunjan is joining us. She's a kooky voice, and Kennedy Muttum is a PhD scholar in JNU currently, and he's from the Meitei community. Let me start with Mr. Vora. Mr. Vora, in just the past 2 weeks, the Home Minister has been there for 4 days. The troubleshooter for the BJP in the Northeast, who happens to be the Chief Minister of Assam, Himanta Biswa Sarma, has just come back. A judicial panel has been formed. A voluntary scheme to give up arms, literally a Dropbox has been created. 100+ crores of a rehab fund has already been announced. On the first question of intent, of wanting to solve the problem, is that at least clear, if nothing else?
Well, Rishabh, you have hit the nail on the head, if I may say so. I have served in Manipur. I have done 3 tenures there. The basic problem is the politicians. They don't want to solve the problems because their sole intention is vote banks, nothing else. And it is throughout India. It is not as if it is particular to that place. Statecraft is missing in solving the issues, as you summed up very rightly in the beginning of your remarks. Now, here, of course, Home Ministers going there is a big thing because there were days, and you would be also aware, that Northeast was never in news in the media or even in the Home Ministry. It was of no consequence at all. I recall that once Chief Minister of Manipur, he came to Delhi. For 3 days he waited. He could not meet the Home Minister. And he was then asked to meet the Home Secretary and go away. Whereas while I was sitting there, UP Chief Minister rang up and the Home Minister said, ask the convenience of the UP Chief Minister. So political clout basically, because they have just one or two MPs, and that's what it is coming to. Now here, let's talk of Manipur for a moment. I think political pragmatism was missing. Intelligence report definitely would have been there as to what was happening, what was brewing, and it didn't happen overnight. High Court's judgment was only a trigger. And suddenly, then it blew up in the faces of everybody. I must say, the local politicians of all hues and colors failed, and especially the chief minister, because it was his responsibility to take action. Somehow, he was projected as being pro Maiti, and that created a lot of problem. Cookies, as you know, the background. These people, they had their issues with the forest reserve areas from where some villages were raised kind of to the ground. The allegation was Rohingyas came and they gave shelter to them. The churches were burnt. See, Manipur is unlike any other state, even like UP. See, there are three major communities living there: Naga,
Yeah. So
Kuki.
okay. So I'm facing a struggle, and we are facing it every day, especially for people who are watching this from Manipur, is trying to get stakeholder participation. I'm devoting 30 minutes, 1 hour of discussion time on national media every day to this issue. Okay, because when I was in my younger days, when one is more romantic and more of an agitator, you wanted people to at least listen to what you had to say. Then maybe you didn't have to protest on the streets if people were actually listening, if they heard you the first time. And it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle for practical reasons, such as for simple things like internet connectivity. Okay, it's been a struggle to get voices who actually want to come out and speak. And there might be several who are watching. Reach out to us. We want to hear your viewpoint, your thoughts. It's been a struggle to maintain a balance between all the communities getting an opportunity to listen to their point of view. So it's been a struggle. So if you're watching this, reach out to us. We'll love to include your voices. We are trying every day. Sometimes we're more successful than others. Today there's connectivity issues, so the stakeholding guests that we've had are not with us. It's 10 minutes into this conversation. So now let me get back step by step with BL Vora. Mr. Vora, do we now in this country need to re-examine? We have a lot of politics and very charged politics about the OBCs and SCs in this country. But the scheduled tribe conceptualization was created with a different logic. That logic was that there needs to be a preservation of culture, a preservation of tribal rights, a preservation of the territories, the forestry areas, etc. Is that policy in keeping today with the aspiration of modern day young people? If you've created a system which says no development can happen on this hill because this is a tribal land, but the people there actually want a better road, a better train station, a better airport, better jobs, a shopping mall, a cinema hall, is that policy now ripe for revision?
Actually, see, the scheduled tribes also, they were given reservations, idea being that they should be equal kind of stakeholders in the development of India. That is why these reservations were given, and even their lands were allowed not to be sold there to outsiders. In fact, that was one of the issues in Manipur. Now, as I said in the beginning, see, my experience in the Indian Police Service for about 40 years, Rishabh, is that problems are created by the politicians. If they want to solve it, they can solve it. But statecraft is missing because politics is too much ingrained in our
Okay. So
blood.
it comes back to where I began this conversation, and I think Glady Unjan is through with us. So Mr. Vora, before I come to her, with the effort, you just mentioned a story when once upon a time the Manipur chief minister would not even get an audience with the home minister. Now you had the home minister there for 4 days. As I mentioned, Himanta Biswa Sarma just come back from there. Is the intent at least clear that there is an open-minded effort to try to solve this?
But it is too little too late, Rishabh.
Okay, more can be done and then has to be done faster. And then that's the
Yes.
objective with which
Foundation has been laid, but a lot of work has to be done. Home Minister has done an excellent thing, kudos to him. But those who are on ground, they have to do the work, strong work.
Okay. All right. So let me update our viewers. As you know, 24 MLAs, including the Speaker of the Manipur Assembly, are now scheduled to be in Delhi in the next few days. We don't know exactly when. It might be tomorrow. It might be a day after. But they're coming to Delhi. They'll be holding meetings here. Hopefully, the violence, there has been no violence in about 36 hours. So if we can stop that, if we can get the conversation going and we can keep the conversation going, and certainly we are dedicated to the conversation here, we'll make some progress. Okay, so I'm told Glady is through with us. Glady, hi, this is Rishabh Gulati in our studios in Delhi. Can you hear me?
Yes,
ma'am,
yes.
Thank you very much for joining us. So let me, since you sat with us yesterday as well, ma'am, let's take us through the update. So I'm told the past 36 hours have been quieter and more peaceful. Is that true, ma'am?
It's quieter and peaceful, maybe because our MLS are, you know what happened. They are coming to Delhi for a talk. And we also know the day the Supreme Court hearing was, even the displaced people, all those camps in Imphal, they were treated very well with chicken and everything. So I know that is the situation always. But having said that, my concern is the same flag that was, planted on churches in Imphal Valley when the churches were burned. The same flags that was carried by the volunteers everywhere, and also the same flag now is used as a car bumper sticker or vehicle in Imphal Valley. That same flag was seen today in the rally, the bike rally that happened in the capital, Delhi. It was planted at the back of a motorbike and then moving around freely. I'm very concerned. I am very happy that 36 hours, there's nothing major incident happened, which is appreciated. But at the same time, this is very alarming that why are those flags moving freely in the capital?
Good point made. Now that you mentioned it, I have better understanding of it, and we'll keep an eye out and try to see what can be done, because if we can try and be less provocative, at least that's heading in the right direction. Okay, so let's try that. Let's get Kennedy also into this conversation. Kennedy, from your perspective, now since we're taking it day by day, okay, the first objective is to just end the violence, end the bloodshed. Okay, people are dying, and generally lumpen elements who kill people, I'm sure the people who are agitating on either side don't want that situation. So the past 36 hours has been quieter. There has now been a 100 crore rupee rehabilitation fund. There is a judicial commission, and I know there's a dispute on the judicial commission being from out of state, and that requires conversation. Sometimes third party arbitration helps, sometimes it leads to lack of representation. Now we've been told that these MLAs are headed to Delhi. You've had the Home Minister there last week, Himanta Biswa Sarma there a couple of days ago. At least, are you seeing the right intent in doing some problem solving? Can we hear him? Kennedy, hi, can you hear us? Okay, we'll get him reconnected and just have a quick audio check with him before we try to get him back on air. I will make sure I try to address him before I come back to this. Until then, let me quickly get Glady back into this conversation. Okay, Glady, now as things stand, in your thoughts, what effort needs to be made to de-escalate, just to stop the violence so that we can all come back and have a conversation?
This is a very good point, de-escalate. And then certain steps have taken place, which is very nice on paper. Let's say the helicopter service, which is really big talk about. But practically, I don't think it is a good thing. And also the food grain that is promised, not even one rice has reached my district, my hometown, the southern part of Manipur. Everything is together. If we want to take a step for a peaceful future.
Okay. What's the issue with the helicopter service? Let's look at it practically.
The helicopter service, see, I have a family. My family too are flyers. So suppose if the passenger get delayed, to the airport and then cannot get a connecting helicopter due to bad weather, any circumstances, pilot sick, anything, then do we have facility at the airport to keep the Cookie Zomi safe? Is there any hotel? Because they can't leave the airport. We all know that. Is there any medical facility? If there's any elderly people, medically challenged people, is there a tribal doctor over there looking after them? You know, they are very, very unsafe. So is the airport capable?
Okay, so you're saying that people are afraid of living because if they get stuck because of weather and other reasons.
They cannot go out of the airport right now. The tribal are very, very
they're scared. Okay.
And you can't force them to go.
So better facilities at the airport so that they can be looked after within the airport, room, board, medicines.
The airport has no bed to sleep. The airport has no hotel to take rest.
Has nothing. So that needs to be.
And you know what? Imphal Airport become very quiet after the last landing, and that time what will happen? Announcing helicopter is very important. But thank you to the state government, the central government. But is it practical?
Okay.
What will happen?
Okay. All right. Let's look at the second issue, ma'am. You said food grains. What's the issue?
The food grain that is promised on paper have not reached the southern district of Manipur, Churachandpur. I get a direct telephone line from the relief center over there. The school, Churachandpur Government College. Where people are, they didn't get any food grain. Rostan Memorial School have not got anything. And LM Academy, Linksify, where I was born, no food grain has been delivered. Why only on paper? How can we move forward?
Okay, these are solvable problems.
Big things when we don't even have chawal to eat. When a pack of fruity that's 10 rupees is costing 25 rupees. When petrol in the black market is costing 300 rupees. And when there is no electricity for 24 hours, 48 hours, where there is no internet, everything, internet is better, more necessary than water. What are we doing about this? What are we afraid of? Without internet, everything stops. You know that. Why are they not giving all this?
Okay. Let me take it one by one, ma'am. Okay. So the electricity situation, the internet situation sometimes is imposed. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel. What is the electric issue?
Only 2 hours to each area. 2 hours only to each area. How can they survive with that, sir? How can they pump their water every day? How can they flush their toilet? What are we talking about progress? How can we progress into something that we wanted when even a little thing like electricity?
I'm going to ask then a slightly more difficult question on the back of these very practical issues that you raised here.
Yes.
These are very practical issues that anybody in any part of the country can understand. Okay.
Yes.
You don't have to understand Manipur to understand that no electricity, no food, no place to stay. Okay. Ma'am, in a real sense, would you like, regardless of community, would you like to see certain sustainable amounts of development coming to Manipur? Because it is perceived that Manipur should not have, it should remain pristine. If you build a road, it will be environmentally damaging. If you build a railway line, so should certain development happen or not happen?
It has to happen. We have to move forward as a country, as a state. Then why can't we have another airport at Churachandpur? It's not a small place. We should have our own medical research center more and more, and we should have, our own train. Why don't we connect by train? Why don't we connect Churachandpur by helicopter? That is not from Imphal, and also second airport. And why can't we have passport office where young people can apply in Churachandpur without going anywhere? Why can't we have a visa
hang a
center
second. Hang in. Passport office is a practical thing. Okay.
Yes.
What else, ma'am, is coming to your mind?
Sir, what about the road transport? You say road are very important. Yes. Go and see the halat of the road over there, sir. Vehicle doesn't last long, more than 2 years. The potholes, the bumpy ride. Development is very good.
Okay, can I ask a practical question, ma'am? So you're on a Zoom meeting with me. So obviously the internet today is working. How often has the internet been out in the past few days?
Sir, I am in Delhi.
You are in Delhi. Okay.
So the internet is working.
So with family back in Manipur, the internet is not working?
Sir, my farmhouse, I have not been able to see my CCTV camera since 3rd May till today. It's not working.
Almost a month. And when you're back home,
May, sir.
So when you're back home, ma'am, when you are in your farm, what is the kind of internet speed do you get there?
Let me tell you, if you open KFC, what frees the meat? Electricity, sustainability, what runs laboratory machine.
Okay, so I'm just trying to slow it down so we can take a step by step, ma'am.
We want it, sir, but give us the basic thing.
Yeah, so I'm just ma'am, just just bear with me so that we can take it step by step, okay?
Yes,
So
yes.
the times that you get internet, is it, do you have a broadband kind of connection? Do you have a
Yes.
fixed connection?
I have broadband. I have 4 connections.
So what is
I
this?
have a
What's the
showroom.
kind of speed that you get?
Sir, speed were very, very good, but from 3rd May, 0. So,
Okay,
I have my own showroom in Churachandpur.
Right.
That was open last September. Okay, last September, not even 1 year that I could run.
Okay.
It's completely shut
Okay.
from
Okay.
3rd May.
What about phone mobile connectivity? Is it reasonable
Sir,
or is it
no
patchy?
electricity, no battery backup, nothing, no
So-
mobile phone.
so no electricity, no mobile
before
phone,
3rd
okay.
May, everything was perfect. The speed, I was surprised to see optical fiber cable reach almost every part
Okay,
of
so
my
that's the
hometown.
good thing,
It was
then this is the bad
amazing.
thing. Okay, ma'am, just stay with
Yes,
me.
and
Okay,
also,
okay.
sir, when you talk about secretary, social stability is the reason why economic prosper. If the society going through this turmoil, how will we ever set up things that sustain the society?
Yeah, so
in the
first,
future?
ma'am, we have to do it step by step. First, of course, there has to be peace. For peace to happen, there has to be intent.
Yes.
I can see the
and
intent
the peace
now.
explanation of the mainland Meitei and the peace explanation of the tribal are very different. So when we talk
Okay,
about
all right.
peace,
So let's no, ma'am.
I
Peace
feel
is
safe.
its own reward. So let's not figure it out how it's going to be done. I'm not saying
Yes,
it's easy,
yes.
but it can be done.
Yes.
So let me get
Yes,
Kennedy
yes.
into this conversation. Kennedy, I'm sorry. I understand. Where are you right now? And where are you right now, Kennedy? Is it possible to get him patched through the phone? Because I was just told that his audio is not stable. Kennedy, why don't you switch your video off and let's see if we can just do audio. That's okay. We just want to hear your voice. Hi, can you hear us? Can you say something, please? That's my PCR is not following. Forgive them. Somebody from my production team will have to follow with them, so that we can get his voice in. Somebody is now typing at me because I want to have this conversation before we run out of time, which is just a few minutes now. Let me just quickly touch base with BL Vora while we're waiting for Aarti and company to figure this out. I'm told this was tested, and we'll try that. I'm going to try again before I wind up this telecast. We're trying our best. Mr. Vora, there are going to be emotive reasons, and some of them become communally charged. But in the basic line, I think we've just heard from Glady, most people, sir, like you and me, have day-to-day practical frustrations. We want to feel safe. We want to feel that we can go about our life and business. We want to be able to travel. We want to be able to do things, to have the roads, to have the internet, to have electricity, to have a passport office. They're very practical things. A lot of these things have solutions, sir. These are doables.
Point is, Rishabh, let me tell you, I have seen worse days. When I was first posted as a DIG to Manipur, it was 1980. And Imphal was burning. There used to be firing in Imphal in the streets themselves. They called Lekais there. And slowly, things came out. And then I did later tenures. I was even Home Secretary, and I went up to the rank of DG and IG prisons as well. See, the point is, these are practical difficulties, but some, see, from administrative point of view, some are not possible, some are possible, if you ask me.
Yeah.
She has very right, of course, aspirations, but I agree with her number one, helicopter, no use at all. In fact, road opening systems have already been there. They have always been there by the army and by the police forces. So once the road is secured, I think people can come and go, food can come and go, other essential items can come and go.
Okay.
Medical facilities, yet, but passport office is something I think India is too big a country, and I think one small state cannot have more than one
No, but
office.
again, it's not an unsolvable problem. A passport office and the passport offices can be put there.
The methods can be found. Methods can always be found.
Okay. Let me try to get
internet
Kennedy
and
in
all.
one more time before I wind up, sir, so that we can hear him out as well. Kennedy, I'm told you can hear us now.
Yes, I
Okay,
can hear you
we
now.
got you also now. Okay, so Kennedy, where are you right now?
I'm currently speaking to you from JNU.
And where is family from in Manipur?
Yeah, my family is currently in Imphal, but Yes.
Okay, what's the situation there right now? In just practical things, I'm told there's been no violence in the past 36 hours. Are things quieter today?
Yes, yes, and I definitely think that that's a welcome sign that things are returning to normalcy.
Okay. Okay. What about practical issues like petrol, like electricity, like mobile phone, internet? How's that?
I think that is going to be an issue going forward because I've heard from reports on the ground that some of the uh, cookie civil societies and organizations are actively involved in blocking the highways, and this is something that which can be verified from the Twitter accounts of the Home Minister.
No. Forget the Twitter accounts. We're trying to solve the problem, which is not going to happen otherwise. So forget Twitter for a second.
No,
Yeah.
that's
Kennedy,
true.
I'm just trying to ask you. I'm asking. So what in terms of your family, are you able to communicate with them? Are they getting internet? Is their mobile phones working?
Yeah, at least the phones are working. Internet is not yet.
Okay. What about internet is not yet, obviously, which is why we can't get people to join in from there. What about
Yes.
things like food and water?
I think, especially in Imphal, that's not a problem at the moment.
Okay.
But in the interior parts of Manipur,
Yeah, it is a problem. Okay. What about electricity?
yeah, electricity. I mean, that won't be an issue at the point. In some areas.
Okay. All right. Okay. Manageable. All right.
Manageable,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you a practical question now, Kennedy, and it's a very straightforward practical question.
Okay.
We have a complicated policy debate that we need to have, as you well know, about scheduled tribes and tribal lands and immigration and communities and things like that. It's a very complicated conversation. We obviously want to have it in a peaceful environment. Now, in terms of aspiration, you're a student. You'll have several friends your age, maybe a bit younger, family members. What is the aspiration? Do people want jobs and developments to come to Manipur? Do they want to go out to other parts of the country and the world for jobs and earning? What is the aspiration, regardless of community?
I think that aspiration is something that is shared across communities, be it Meiteis or Cookies. But this argument that this whole thing has spiraled over because of the lack of development from this hill district of particularly Churchandpur is a very bogus kind of argument. Because if you look at Niti Aayog data, Churchandpur is the most developed hill district in the state. In fact, the Chief Minister and the Home Minister inaugurated the medical college there recently. So it's one of the most developed and progressive part of Manipur. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a larger game plan here involved. Of course, people need more development in the region.
All right, Kennedy. What we're going to do is we're not going to bat for the game plans because we know that politicians sometimes even our respected local leaders, they try to get us agitated because they feel that emotional people are more likely to vote for them. So we're going to dump the larger game plan. We're going to look at very practical issues that people are facing, try to solve them. And then understand that in most terms our aspirations are pretty much the same. You come to study because you want a better job so you can provide better for your family back home, and hopefully if you could return one day to live in your own local area with a good job, run your own company, I'm sure you'd be happy to do so. So let's I'm going to wind up this conversation here because I've run out of time. We will do it every day, okay? And we'll track not only developments, but we'll try to have these conversations. Let's understand it. And let's get out of this crisis that is, I'm sorry to say, is being created for us. In the human context, what we want and need is generally very similar. We want to feel safe in our homes and our localities when we are traveling. We want to earn for ourselves. We want a basic standard of life. We want hope and a better future. And I think there are many things that are doable. So I'm going to relist some of them. In places there are food shortages that certainly administration can look at very quickly. Internet, for some reason, is always taken as a security concern. That needs to be reviewed because people can't run businesses, schools, colleges. I mean, I can't get anybody to speak to there because of poor internet. Mobile connectivity in places where it's poor, things like load transport, passport offices, these are certainly more medium-term measures, but they can be easily done. Food and safety is of course paramount. Now everybody is trying, I think if all of us put our ducks in a row, it is possible.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.